Hey, what's up? In this video, we're gonna go through all my fish tanks. I'm gonna introduce you to all the fish I have and all the tanks I have. In this tank, this is a 90-gallon angelfish and discus tank with a geophagus, just one guy by himself, and then a few Malini cories. So in here, these angels I actually got quite a while ago, and they're quite rare because they're super red, orange, long fin veils. And then I recently got more discus. There's a whole story to the discus and what happened with them. But yeah, this is a 90-gallon. I really like this tank. There are changes coming. I have to clean the filter a bit. I'm gonna remove the rocks at the bottom, and then I'm gonna get some Vallisneria, like the jungle one, so that it grows on the sides and whatnot. Apologize for the glare, but these discus are doing pretty well. I try to feed them 3 times a day because they are pretty small. These black angelfish, I'm either gonna put in the other tank I'm gonna show you, or I'm gonna bring them back to the store because I've had them for a while and I really wanna focus on the orange angels. A couple of angels that I have that I really like are the blue zebra angels, which if you can see back there, that is looking to be a really nice male. These guys are trying to say hi. I believe this is the couple I have that continuously spawn every few weeks, but they're doing well. There's the male, if you can see him. He's looking really, really nice. And then this one I believe is stunted. She or he has not grown much in the past few months compared to him. So don't really know what's happening with her or him. I recently just got this yellow discus, these 2 blue ones, and then this little red guy right here, the melon face. This is the 65-gallon Tiger Barb tank and Barb tank overall. I want to make it really planted. I want to try doing CO2 on this tank. I've never done CO2. This tank has some platinum green tiger barbs and longfin rosy barbs. One of the rosy barbs is really, really big. I believe she has dropsy. Another one passed away a while ago, and I believe it was the bloating, and I've tried Epsom salt baths and everything else, but dropsy's not really curable, so I'm just gonna let it play out and let her just enjoy the tank. It could also have eggs, so it can make it worse. But in this tank, we have quite a few fish. We have yo-yo loaches, the green platinum tiger barbs, the rosy barbs. We have an African leaf fish in the back. Let's see if you can see him. I got him at like ½ an inch size, and now he's probably pushing 2 inches. He's shy most of the time unless there's ghost shrimp. Green tiger barb got bit, I want to say by him. So that tail will heal soon. We also got some Hillstream loaches just on the glass. They're just chilling, they're really cool. But I really like this tank. It's just a lot of activity and kind of slightly a predator tank. I want to add the angels, and I want to add a couple other bigger fish to just add a really nice centerpiece fish to this tank. Alright, this is the 125-gallon African cichlid tank. This is the tank I put the 3D background on in my other video. And in this tank we have Madoka white lips, which is a fish I've been waiting for a long time and finally got my hands on. These guys are quite big. They're not as colored up, but I also have Demasoni in here and yellow labs. The issue with this tank that I'm finding is I have way too many males. So a lot of the yellow labs are males, and they just take too many territories, as well as the Demasoni. There's about 21 Demasoni, and I just want to thin out the colony a bit from the male aggression, because my focus is really the Madoka white lips. I really want them to be the main focus, and as they get larger, they will outgrow the Demasoni and be able to compete. They've already done it for quite a bit of time, and some of them have been able to push the Demasoni, but the Demasonis are quite aggressive around their territory. But yeah, there's quite a bit of fish in here. There's also Synodontis petricola in here and an Angelicus. And I'm gonna add a couple more fish that I'm growing out in another tank. I have Longfin and Cistrus red Bristlenose Plecos. So if you can see him back there, this is like a breeding project. It won't focus on him, but there's about 7 of them in here. Oh, there's one. Let's see. There you go. So these are super red longfin Bristlenose Plecos. There's also green laser cories in this tank, but they hide so much, and I don't know how many I have because I haven't been able to count them in a while. But these guys are really, really cool, and the goal is to eventually breed them. They're quite young. They're not that old yet. Probably only 6 months so far, so probably another 6 months before they start breeding. And then we got white clouds, which are gonna go into the pond. So this tank has quite a bit of fish. This is my grow out tank of the Madoka white lips. So this was part of my first batch of Madoka white lips, and when I first introduced them to the larger tank, the 125 gallon, they actually, half of them got eaten, and because I couldn't find any bodies, and it was quite sad. There are smaller yellow labs in the tank, so I didn't think that these guys would get eaten by the bigger yellow labs, but they did. So there's about 5 in here, and I'm just gonna grow them out and then put them into the 125 gallon. There's also albino Bristlenose in here. These guys I also just want to breed because I don't see them a lot, and they're also kind of the one albino fish that I really think it looks cool. The other piece of their white long fins. And then I also have in here multipunctatus, like a colony of them. These guys are going into the 125 gallon. And then there's also 9 Synodontis lucipinus. So they're a smaller version of the petricola, which I'm gonna leave in here to breed with the albino Bristlenose. So as you can see, these like Madoka white lips look really, really nice in color comparison to the larger ones, just because they don't have much to compete with. Whereas in the big tank, it's harder for an individual to become the dominant male. But this guy, he's just stunning. And this is the color like you're gonna get out of the Madokas, which I love. It's like this iridescent blue, and their whole body will get like the same blue. And then the males and females are very similar in color and appearance. The large ones back there, I'm kind of waiting on the smallest one to grow, but I probably need to start adding them slowly so that each one can start growing up and get most of the food. So the next tank we have double blue gold Endlers. These guys were a breeding project to sell the males, and as you can see, they're quite pretty, the males. The only thing I don't really care for when breeding guppies is like to keep the strains well, is like you're just kind of line breeding and you get deformities. So some of the ones, the culls, the ones that you don't want to breed with the rest of the colony, you would feed to other fish. So I have the African leaf fish and the angelfish that, these are good, feeder fish to give to them, and it just helps breed them. But I don't think I'm going to keep these for long. I'll probably bring them to the store and sell them off. They're just not as, interesting to me. I'd rather keep another fish. And then the next tank, we have some gold neon Platies. These were supposed to be quite rare and like line bred Platies. I don't enjoy them as much as I thought I would. The color is nice in them. I'm gonna add all the Platies I have into my pond because they do well in cold water, and there's already Platies that have made it from my water change system into the pond. So clearly they can make it through like, colder weather and the weather here. And in this tank, I also have another breeding project. Once they get larger, I'll move them to a different tank. These are the lemon blue eye longfin Plecos. So like the red ones, they're just more of a yellow color and with blue eyes, and they're also quite rare. So I have about 5 in here, and then 2 big females in the other tanks. And then in here, we have the panda guppies. These guys are actually really, really cool. This colony started off with 2 guppies, and now it's grown quite a bit. I have to remove the plant so that they have more swimming room. And these guys I really want to sell to the fish store because they're just really, really cool, and they don't throw like deformities as much as the other ones, and they really just look really nice. I want to add a new strain so that the genetics stay healthy and that it's just not continuing one line. These guys have multiplied quite a bit, and I haven't actually brought any to the store yet, but I need to go tomorrow or the next week to actually bring some of these, because once you have too many like larger adults, they just start eating the babies and the breeding and the colony stops growing that much. The next and last tank is the 10-gallon red fireball, red Platies. These guys are actually really, really pretty, and I used to have them in one of my main display tanks. Then I put them down here to breed, but this tank is really cloudy because of the sponge is not like a fine sponge, so it doesn't really pick up the particulates as much as like this tank, where this one has a fine sponge. But these guys I'm gonna put into the pond. I might keep some not in there just to have the colony, or add them to another tank. I just think the orange is really cool, but in the pond they'll be really, really easy to see, and so breed and hopefully just keep growing. And if I mix them with like the gold neons over here, you might get something really cool. And I also have 2 other blue Platies, so you never know what you might get out of them. All right, Last thing is the pond. Let me open this window. Alright, the pond has changed quite a bit in terms of like the plants and what's doing well. So in the pond, there's actually 2 goldfish at the moment and a couple of longfin zebradanias of the gold variety. And so you can see them in the water. This is why I want to add the orange platies, because when the goldfish are out, you can see them really easily. They normally hide in that bush over there and come out to eat the duckweed. I throw the duckweed from the fish tanks. But over here you can see some of the plants got dry because it's summertime, and the water change system I stopped having go on as much, so there's not as much water coming through the line down here and watering all the plants. But I think it's doing well. This plant got really, really big. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, and have a great day.